Okay, so today we are going to look at SQL injection, and SQL injection was #1 vulnerability in 2017, and it is still one of the top 3 vulnerabilities in 2021 according to OWASP Top 10, which is Open Web Application Security Project. So if we go and see what it says about it, is that we inject certain command into a data input field, and mostly in case of SQL structures such as table names, we can try to bypass it. So let us first try to understand how SQL works so that we understand how we bypass it. So suppose there is a website with a login page, something like this, and where you enter a username and password. So what might be happening in the background is basically it will go and check in a database if that ID and password matches, or it is one of the valid ID and password. So only when these two conditions will be true, because there is an AND, will it let you authenticate. So whatever I put in the user ID field over here, let's say ABCD, whatever, it will go and be inserted where Berlin is written. But if instead of Berlin, I type something, I start with a quotation mark. What it will do is, it will take me out of the limitation of being a variable. And whatever I type now will be considered part of the query, assuming that proper input validation is not in place on that website. And then if I type or, what it will do is, whatever condition was before this part will be irrelevant, because I have said either the previous condition should be true or the next condition should be true. So I have typed or, and then I say, let's say 2 is equal to 2, which will always be true because I've mentioned that 2 is equal to 2. So that will be entered here. And then I type, if I type double dash in SQL, when I type double dash, whatever is after that is considered a comment. So you can see the color changed. Earlier it was part of the query, but once I enter double dash, it becomes green, which means that it's no longer considered part of the query. It's considered a comment. So that means whatever condition is after this part will also be irrelevant now. So I'll just copy paste this, because usually it says that, something should be entered in both the fields. Let's see what happens. You can see it says login success, welcome administrator. So I have bypassed the authentication mechanism on this website. How? I invalidated or made whatever condition was before this part by entering or, then I said 2 is equal to 2, and this condition was true, and whatever was written after that was irrelevant because I inserted double dash. And since one of the condition is true, which is or 2 is equal to 2, I could enter anything. A is equal to A, 3 is equal to 3, whatever, doesn't matter. And then it let me authenticate it. And since I did not mention the user ID and password, it gave me the access of the default user, which was the administrator. Okay. Any questions? This is known as SQL injection. And we will see a tool that we can use to check this as well, because The example that we just saw in this, we wrote the simplest of queries, and luckily on that website, SQL was running. Maybe in some other website, MySQL might be running. Sometimes it does work on that as well, but maybe some other database is running, or it's not as straightforward as this one. So instead of trying different forms of queries manually, we can use a tool. So I'll just switch on my Kali. Yes. All right. And see if I can copy paste this. So the tool that we can use is known as SQL map. So we'll need to specify some options. For example, SQL map dash u, the URL. Paste, I think. Latur Samudaya. Com or .edu? Login.php.